Have you ever noticed how the strongest people you know aren't the ones who never fall, but the ones who keep getting back up? They possess something deeper than mere confidence. They have an unshakable foundation built from within. Today I'm going to share with you 17 ancient, Stoic habits that transformed ordinary people into unstoppable forces. These aren't just philosophical concepts gathering dust in old books. These are practical, life-changing habits that Marcus Aurelius used while ruling an empire, that Epictetus practiced while overcoming slavery, and that Seneca relied on during his darkest hours. But here's what makes this different. We're not just talking about productivity or success. We're talking about something far more powerful, radical self-love through Stoic wisdom. Because here's the truth. You cannot become unstoppable until you truly love yourself. And you cannot truly love yourself until you understand what that actually means. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete blueprint for transforming your relationship with yourself and becoming the person you've always known you could be. So find a comfortable spot, grab a notebook, and let's begin this journey together. Before we dive in, if you're ready to transform your life through ancient wisdom, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Let me tell you a story. In 161 AD, a man named Marcus Aurelius became the emperor of Rome. He had everything: power, wealth, influence. Yet, every night before bed, he wrote in his journal, not about his conquests or victories, but about becoming a better person, about controlling his thoughts, about loving himself enough to improve. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is the foundation of Stoic self-care. It's not about bubble baths and face masks, though those are wonderful. It's about building an internal fortress so strong that nothing external can shake you. It's about loving yourself enough to do the difficult work of becoming better. The Stoics understood something profound. Self-love isn't selfish. It's essential. Because when you truly love yourself, you stop seeking validation from others. You stop being controlled by circumstances. You become unstoppable. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think self-love means being easy on themselves. The Stoics knew better. Real self-love means holding yourself to high standards because you know you're capable of greatness. It means being your own best friend and your own best coach. Today, we're going to explore 17 habits that will help you build this foundation. Some will challenge you. Some will comfort you. All of them will transform you if you let them. Habit 1. Morning meditation, the daily awakening. The first habit is one that every great Stoic practiced: morning meditation. But this isn't about sitting in lotus position humming mantras. This is about starting your day with intentional thought. Marcus Aurelius would begin each morning by reminding himself of his values and preparing for the day ahead. Here's how you practice this. Wake up 15 minutes earlier than usual. Before checking your phone, before scrolling social media, sit quietly and ask yourself 3 questions. What am I grateful for today? What challenges might I face, and how will I respond with virtue? What kind of person do I want to be today? This simple practice does something remarkable. It shifts you from reactive mode to intentional mode. Instead of letting the world dictate your emotional state, you're choosing it. Think about it. Most people wake up and immediately check their phones. They're bombarded with news, messages, other people's problems. They're letting the external world program their internal state before they've even had coffee. You're different. You're taking control. Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Your morning meditation is how you begin living intentionally. It's how you show love to yourself by refusing to give your peace away before the day even starts. Real-world application. Start tomorrow. Set your alarm 15 minutes early. Keep a journal by your bed. Write down your 3 answers. Do this for 30 days and watch how everything changes. Your relationships improve. Your work improves. Your inner peace becomes unshakable. This is self-love in action. You're telling yourself, you matter enough to get this time. Your peace matters more than your inbox. Habit 2. The dichotomy of control freedom through focus. The second habit is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, understanding and practicing the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, who went from slave to one of the most influential philosophers in history, taught this principle above all others. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. Sounds simple, right? But this simple truth is where most of our suffering comes from, trying to control what we cannot control. Let me give you a modern example. You send a text to someone you care about. You wait, no response. An hour passes. 2 hours. Your mind starts racing. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad at me? Don't they care? You're suffering. But why? Because you're trying to control their response. That's not in your control. What is in your control? The message you sent, the intention behind it, how you respond to their eventual reply, your own peace of mind. The practice. Every time you feel anxiety, stress, or worry creeping in, stop and ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, take action. If no, let it go. Create 2 mental buckets. Bucket 1. Things I can control. My thoughts, my actions, my responses, my effort, my character. Bucket 2. Everything else. Other people's opinions, outcomes, the past, the future, the weather, the economy. Pour all your energy into bucket 1. Let bucket 2 exist without draining your peace. This is profound self-love. You're protecting your mental and emotional energy. You're refusing to waste your precious life. Force on things that don't respond to your efforts. Story time. There was a CEO who lost everything in the 2008 financial crisis. His company collapsed. His investments vanished. He could have spiraled into depression. Instead, he practiced this principle. He couldn't control the market. He couldn't control what happened. But he could control his response. He could control his next action. Within 3 years, he built an even more successful company. Not because he was lucky, but because he focused all his energy on what he could control. When you practice this habit, something magical happens. You stop being a victim of circumstances. You become the author of your life. And that's when you become unstoppable. Your action step for the next week: catch yourself every time you're worrying or stressing. Write down what you're worried about. Then write whether it's in your control or not. If it's not, consciously choose to release it. This is how you train your mind to love yourself by protecting your peace. Habit 3. Negative visualization, embracing impermanence. Now, the third habit might seem counterintuitive for a video about self-love, but trust me on this: negative visualization. The Stoics practiced something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Essentially, they would spend time imagining loss, losing their wealth, losing their health, losing loved ones. You might be thinking, that sounds depressing. How is that self-care? Here's the profound wisdom. By contemplating loss, you develop deep gratitude for what you have right now. You stop taking things for granted. You cherish the present moment because you understand its temporary nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." The practice. Once a week, spend 10 minutes contemplating impermanence. Not with fear or anxiety, but with acceptance and gratitude. Imagine waking up tomorrow and your phone is gone. How much does it really matter? Imagine your car breaks down. So what? You have your legs. Imagine losing your job. Scary, yes, but you still have your skills, your mind, your resilience. Now take it deeper. Imagine the people you love. Your parents, if they're still alive, they won't be forever. Your partner, your children, your friends. Their time on earth is limited. So is yours. This isn't morbid. This is reality. And when you accept this reality, something beautiful happens. You stop wasting time on petty arguments. You hug your loved ones a little longer. You say, "I love you" more often. You appreciate the morning coffee, the sunset, the conversation with a friend. Personal story. I once knew someone who practiced this daily. Every morning he would look at his family and think, "This might be the last time I see them." Not with sadness, but with appreciation. It made him patient with his kids when they were difficult. It made him kind to his spouse during disagreements. It made him present in every moment. When his father suddenly passed away, while he grieved deeply, he had no regrets. He had lived as if each day was precious because he understood that it was. This is self-love at its deepest. You're teaching yourself to appreciate your life exactly as it is right now. You're freeing yourself from the trap of, "I'll be happy when," you're becoming grateful for what you have, instead of anxious about what you might lose. Your practice. This Sunday, take 10 minutes. Sit quietly. Imagine losing 3 things you take for granted. Then open your eyes and appreciate that you still have them. Feel the gratitude flood through you. This is how you become unstoppable, by being unshakable in your appreciation for what is. Habit 4. Voluntary discomfort building resilience. Habit number 4 is where we start building real mental toughness. Voluntary discomfort. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, would periodically live like he was poor. He'd sleep on a hard floor, eat simple bread, wear rough clothing. Not because he had to, but because he chose to. Why? Because he understood something crucial. Comfort makes you weak. Voluntary discomfort makes you strong. In our modern world, we're addicted to comfort. We avoid pain at all costs. Cold? Turn up the heat. Hungry? Order delivery. Tired? Sleep in. Uncomfortable conversation? Avoid it. But here's what happens. When real hardship inevitably comes, and it always comes, you're unprepared. You crumble. You can't handle it because you've never practiced discomfort. The Stoics were different. They practiced hardship so that when it came uninvited, they were ready. The practice. Deliberately choose discomfort regularly. Here are practical examples. Take cold showers. Start with 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your regular shower. Build up to 2 to 3 minutes of fully cold water. This isn't about proving you're tough. It's about training your mind to stay calm in discomfort. Fast intermittently. Skip breakfast once a week. Feel the hunger. Realize it won't kill you. Understand that you're stronger than your cravings. Exercise when you don't feel like it. That's when it matters most. Push-ups before bed. A run in the rain. Movement when your body says rest. Have difficult conversations. That talk you've been avoiding? Have it. The discomfort of honesty is nothing compared to the pain of resentment. Digital fasting. Go 24 hours without your phone once a month. Feel the withdrawal. Overcome it. Reclaim your sovereignty. The deeper truth. When you practice voluntary discomfort, you're sending yourself a powerful message. I love you enough to make you strong. I respect you enough to prepare you for life's challenges. I believe in you enough to know you can handle this. This is the opposite of the fake self-love that says treat yourself every time things get hard. Real self-love says, I'll train you to be capable of handling anything. Think about it like this. If you truly loved someone, Would you let them stay weak and unprepared for life? Or would you help them become strong? The same applies to yourself. Real-world transformation. I know someone who started taking cold showers every morning. Within 3 months, his anxiety decreased dramatically. Why? Because every morning, he proved to himself that he could handle discomfort. That transferred to every other area of his life. Difficult work project? Handle it. Tough conversation with his partner? Handle it. Financial stress? Handle it. He became unstoppable because he stopped avoiding discomfort and started embracing it. Your challenge: choose one form of voluntary discomfort this week. Just one. Do it consistently. Watch how your confidence grows. Watch how your self-respect deepens. This is self-love that actually makes you stronger. Habit 5. Journaling. The conversation with your soul. Habit 5 is perhaps the most transformative practice in Stoicism. Daily journaling. Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, one of the most influential books ever written, wasn't meant for publication. It was his private journal. He was writing to himself, for himself, working through his thoughts, his challenges, his growth. That's the power of journaling. It's not about creating content for others. It's a sacred conversation with yourself. Why journaling is the ultimate self-love practice. When you journal, you're saying, my thoughts matter. My experiences matter. I'm worth understanding. You're giving yourself the gift of being fully heard by the one person who will always be there, you. Most people go through life never processing their experiences. Things happen, they react, they move on. They're like a computer that never clears its cache. Eventually, everything slows down. Everything gets cluttered. Journaling clears that cache. It processes your experiences. It helps you learn from your mistakes. It celebrates your victories. It gives perspective to your challenges. The practice. Every evening, spend 10 to 15 minutes writing. Not typing, writing by hand. There's something about the physical act that connects you more deeply to your thoughts. Write about what happened today that challenged you. How did you respond? How do you wish you had responded? What did you learn? What are you grateful for? What will you do differently tomorrow? This isn't about perfect prose. This is about honest reflection. Some days you'll write 2 sentences. Some days you'll fill 3 pages. Both are perfect. The Stoic questions to journal on. Epictetus suggested reviewing your day with these questions. What did I do wrong today? What did I do right? What did I omit that I should have done? These questions aren't about self-criticism. They're about self-improvement. You can't become better if you don't examine where you are. A powerful example. There's a man who's been journaling every day for 15 years. When he faces a difficult decision now, he doesn't panic. He opens his old journals. He sees that 3 years ago, he faced something similar. He reads how he handled it. What worked? What didn't? He has a database of his own wisdom. More importantly, when he's feeling down, he can read entries from years ago where he was struggling with something that's now resolved. It gives him perspective. It reminds him, you've overcome before. You'll overcome again. That's self-love. That's building a relationship with yourself across time. That's creating a record of your growth, your resilience, your journey. Your starting point. Tonight, before bed, grab a notebook. Write down 3 things from today. Just 3. 1 challenge you faced. 1 thing you handled well. 1 thing you're grateful for. That's it. Do it for 7 days. You'll be amazed at what emerges. Journaling is how you become your own best friend, your own therapist, your own coach. It's how you develop unshakable self-awareness. And self-awareness is the foundation of being unstoppable. Habit 6. Memento mori, remember you will die. Habit number 6 brings us to one of the most powerful Stoic concepts. Memento mori, remember that you will die. Stay with me here, because this might be the most life-changing habit you'll ever adopt. The Stoics kept death at the forefront of their minds, not because they were morbid or depressed, but because awareness of death is what makes life precious. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Why this is radical self-love? When you truly internalize that your time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop spending years in jobs you hate. You stop tolerating toxic relationships. You stop putting off your dreams. You stop sweating the small stuff. You start living deliberately, purposefully, authentically. Think about it. Most people live as if they have infinite time. They say, someday and eventually, and when I have time. But someday never comes. Eventually never arrives. And time? You never have it, you only have now. The practice. Create a physical reminder of mortality. The Stoics wore rings engraved with skulls. You might find that extreme, but the principle stands. Keep death visible. Here's what I recommend. Set a daily phone reminder at noon that says, Memento Mori. When it goes off, pause for 30 seconds. Remember, this day is one you'll never get back. How do you want to spend it? Keep a counter of your approximate remaining weeks. If you're 30 and live to 80, you have about 2,600 weeks left. Put that number somewhere visible. Watch it shrink each week. End each day asking, if this was my last day, would I be proud of how I lived it? This changes everything. Suddenly, that argument with your partner seems petty. Who cares who's right if you only have limited time together? That grudge you're holding? Life's too short. Forgive not for them, but for you. That business you want to start? That book you want to write? That trip you want to take? Why are you waiting? You're assuming you have tomorrow. You might not. A profound story. There was a successful entrepreneur who seemed to have it all. One day, his doctor called, cancer, 6 months to live. Suddenly, everything changed. He quit the job he hated. He apologized to people he'd wronged. He spent time with his kids instead of in meetings. He wrote letters to his loved ones. He truly lived. 6 months passed. He went back for a checkup. The doctor had made a mistake. It wasn't cancer after all. He was going to live. But here's the thing. He didn't go back to his old life. He tasted what it meant to live like his days were numbered. He couldn't unlearn that. He stayed on the new path. He later said those 6 months were the best thing that ever happened to him. You don't need a cancer scare to live this way. You just need to remember, your death is certain. The date is uncertain. That's enough. How this makes you unstoppable. When you live with death in mind, you become fearless. What's the worst that can happen? Failure? Rejection? Embarrassment? So what? You're going to die anyway. Might as well try. You become present. You stop worrying about yesterday or stressing about tomorrow. You're here, now, fully alive. You become grateful. Every breath is a gift. Every sunrise. Every moment with people you love. This is the deepest form of self-love, honoring the precious, temporary nature of your life by actually living it. Your practice. This week, really contemplate your mortality. Not in a depressing way, but in an empowering way. Write your own eulogy. What do you want people to say about how you lived? Then start living that way today. Because today is all you have guaranteed. Memento mori doesn't make you sad. It makes you alive. It makes you unstoppable. Because when you know you're going to die, you stop being afraid to live. Habit 7. Premeditatio, the obstacle is the way. Now we come to Habit 7, a practice that transforms how you face challenges. Premeditatio, or mental rehearsal. The Stoics didn't just wait for problems to happen. They mentally rehearsed them in advance. They prepared responses to difficulties before those difficulties arose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil." Was he being negative? No, he was being prepared. The practice. Each morning, after your meditation, spend 5 minutes anticipating obstacles. Ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? What's the worst that could happen? How will I respond with virtue if it does? This isn't worry. Worry is passive fear. This is active preparation. Let's say you have a difficult meeting today. Don't go in hoping it goes well. Mentally rehearse it going badly. Imagine being criticized, challenged, even attacked. Now decide, how will you respond with patience, wisdom, and grace? When the meeting actually happens, one of two things occurs. It goes fine, and you're pleasantly surprised. It goes badly, but you're prepared and handle it brilliantly. Either way, you win. The deeper principle, the obstacle is the way. This phrase comes from Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Think about this. Every obstacle is actually an opportunity to practice virtue. Every challenge is a chance to become stronger. Every setback is set up for a comeback. You didn't get the job? Opportunity to practice resilience and find something better. Your relationship ended? Opportunity to grow and become the person who attracts a healthier partnership. You failed publicly? Opportunity to practice humility and learn. Real transformation story. There's a famous story about a Stoic student who broke his leg. He sent word to his teacher, expecting sympathy. The teacher sent back a one-line reply. Congratulations on the opportunity to practice courage. That student was furious at first, but then he understood. He had two choices: be miserable about his broken leg, or use it as a chance to develop patience, acceptance, and mental fortitude. He chose the latter. Years later, he said that broken leg taught him more than any book ever had. This is self-love because you're teaching yourself that you can handle anything. You're not fragile. You're not weak. You're antifragile. You get stronger from stress. When you practice premeditatio, you're giving yourself the gift of confidence. Not the fake confidence that crumbles when tested, but the real confidence that comes from knowing you've prepared for the worst and you'll be okay. Your action step. Tomorrow morning, write down 3 potential obstacles you might face. Small ones, big ones, whatever. For each one, write down your virtuous response. When those obstacles appear, and they will, you'll be ready. You'll respond instead of react. You'll be in control. This habit makes you unstoppable because nothing catches you off guard. You're always prepared. You're always ready. And readiness is power. Habit 8. Virtue as the sole good, the North Star. Habit number 8 cuts to the heart of Stoic philosophy, understanding that virtue is the only true good. The Stoics had a radical idea. They said that wealth, health, reputation, success, these are preferred indifference, nice to have, but not inherently good. The only true good is virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. You might be thinking, come on, health isn't good? Wealth isn't good? Here's what they meant. These things can be used for good or evil. A healthy person can help others or harm them. A wealthy person can be generous or cruel. A successful person can be humble or arrogant. But virtue? Virtue is always good. A wise person is always good. A just person is always good. A courageous person is always good. A disciplined person is always good. Why this changes everything? When you make virtue your goal, you become unshakable. Because virtue is entirely within your control. Someone can take your money. They can't take your integrity. Someone can ruin your reputation. They can't ruin your character. Someone can harm your body. They can't harm your virtue unless you let them. The practice. Make virtue your North Star. Every decision, every action, every response, filter it through virtue. Ask yourself, is this wise? Is this just? Does this require courage? Does this demonstrate self-discipline? Let me give you real examples. You're offered a job that pays twice your current salary, but it requires you to compromise your values. The old you would struggle with this decision. The Stoic you? Easy. It's not virtuous. The answer is no. Someone insults you publicly. Your ego wants to strike back. But would that be wise? Would that be just? Would that demonstrate self-discipline? No. So you respond with grace or don't respond at all. You're tempted to eat junk food, skip your workout, binge Netflix instead of working on your goals. Is that demonstrating self-discipline? No. So you make the harder choice. This is the deepest self-love. You're telling yourself, I respect you too much to let you violate your own values. I love you too much to let you be less than you're capable of being. I believe in you enough to hold you to high standards. External achievements come and go. Health fades. Wealth fluctuates. Reputation changes. But your character? That's yours forever. That's what you take to your grave. That's what makes you unstoppable. The story of Cato the Younger was offered enormous wealth and power if he would compromise his principles. He refused. He lost everything, his fortune, his position, eventually his life. But he never lost his virtue. 2,000 years later, we still remember him as a model of integrity. How many of the people who compromised their principles for wealth or power do we remember? None. They're forgotten. Their wealth is dust. But Cato's virtue lives on. Your transformation. For the next week, make every decision based on virtue, not outcome. Don't ask, will this make me happy? Or, will this make me successful? Ask, is this virtuous? Watch what happens. You'll start respecting yourself more. Your self-esteem will skyrocket. Not because others praise you, but because you're living in alignment with your deepest values. You'll sleep better. You'll look yourself in the mirror with pride. You'll become unstoppable, not because you're getting everything you want, but because you're being everything you should be. And that, my friend, is what true self-love looks like. Habit 9. Amor fati, love your fate. We're now at habit 9, and this one might be the most transformative of all. Amor fati, love your fate. Nietzsche, inspired by the Stoics, said, my formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati. That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. Read that again. Love it. Not just accept it. Not just tolerate it. Love it. This sounds crazy, right? Love the bad things that happen. Love the heartbreak, the failure, the loss. How is that even possible? Here's the Stoic wisdom. Everything that happens to you is material for virtue. Every single thing. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it is raw material for your growth. The practice. When something difficult happens, instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of resisting it, embrace it. Say to yourself, this was meant to happen. Not by some cosmic plan, but because this is reality. And reality is always perfect for my growth. Let's get practical with real examples. You lose your job. Old mindset. This is terrible. I'm ruined. Why is life so unfair? New mindset. This is my fate today. What if this job loss is redirecting me to something better? What if this is the push I needed to start my own business? What if this is teaching me resilience? I love this plot twist in my story. Your partner breaks up with you. Old mindset. I'm unlovable. I'll never find anyone. My life is over. New mindset. This relationship ending is part of my fate. What if this person wasn't right for me? What if I needed to learn these lessons? What if someone better aligned with my growth is coming? I love even this painful chapter. You get diagnosed with an illness. Old mindset. Life is cruel. Why is this happening to me? New mindset. This is my body's reality right now. What can this teach me about strength, patience, gratitude? How can this make me deeper, wiser, more compassionate? I love even this challenge. This isn't toxic positivity. I'm not saying pretend everything is great. Feel your feelings, grieve, be sad, be angry. That's human. But then, and this is key, find the love for what is. Find the hidden gift in the hardship. A powerful personal story. There's a man who became paralyzed in an accident. For months, he was bitter, angry, depressed. Then he discovered amor fati, started asking, what if this accident was the best thing that ever happened to me? Sounds absurd, right? But he kept asking. And slowly, he found answers. The accident made him appreciate life in ways he never had. It deepened his relationships. People showed up for him. It gave him empathy for others suffering. It forced him to develop mental and spiritual strength he never knew he had. It led him to become a motivational speaker who now helps thousands. 10 years later, he said, I wouldn't change it. This was my path. And I love my path. That's amor fati. That's true power. Why this is self-love? When you practice amor fati, you're freeing yourself from the exhausting work of wishing things were different. You're accepting yourself, your life, your journey exactly as it is. You're saying, I trust that I can handle this. I trust that this is making me stronger. I trust my own resilience. That's deep love. That's unconditional love. Not for circumstances, but for yourself in all circumstances. How this makes you unstoppable. When you love your fate, nothing can break you. Setbacks? You love them. They're making you stronger. Failures? You love them. They're teaching you. Losses? You love them. They're deepening you. You become like water. Bruce Lee said it best. Be like water. Water doesn't resist obstacles. It flows around them. It adapts. It takes the shape of whatever contains it. But it never stops moving toward its destination. That's you with amor fati. Unstoppable not because nothing blocks you, but because nothing can stop you. You love it all. Your practice. Think of something in your life right now that you're resisting. Something you wish was different. Now just for a moment, try this. I love this. This is my fate. What is this teaching me? You don't have to believe it fully yet. Just try the thought on. See what shifts. Practice this daily. Watch your relationship with life transform. When you love your fate, you become unstoppable. Because you're no longer at war with reality. You're in harmony with it. And that's where true power lives. Habit 10. Social DEBT, give without expecting. Now we arrive at Habit 10, which focuses on our relationship with others, practicing social debt, or giving without expecting return. Seneca wrote extensively about benefits and gratitude. He said we should give freely, expecting nothing in return. Not because people don't deserve gratitude, but because our happiness shouldn't depend on receiving it. Here's the problem most people have. We keep score. We remember every favor we did, every time we helped, every gift we gave. And when people don't reciprocate, we feel hurt, angry, resentful. After everything I did for them, I'm always there for everyone, but when I need help, nobody appreciates me. This keeps you trapped. Your happiness is outsourced to other people's behavior. You're not unstoppable, you're held hostage. The Stoic solution. Give because giving is virtuous. Help because helping is good. Love because loving is right. The act itself is the reward. Seneca said, "The person who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment on their debt." But here's the key. You shouldn't care whether they repay it or not. That's their choice, their character. Your choice, your character is to give freely. The practice. This week, do 3 things for others without any expectation of recognition, repayment, or reciprocation. Make them small or big doesn't matter. Help a colleague with a project and don't mention it to anyone. Pay for someone's coffee behind you in line anonymously. Send an encouraging message to someone who needs it, expecting no response. Clean something in your home that others will use but might not notice. The point is, practice generosity without the attachment to outcome. Why this is actually self-love. When you give without expecting return, you're declaring your independence. You're saying, my joy comes from my character, not from other people's responses. I'm whole unto myself. This is incredibly empowering. You're no longer waiting for validation, appreciation, or reciprocation to feel good. You feel good because you acted virtuously. That's entirely within your control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you've done something good and someone else has benefited, why do you crave a third thing on top? Credit for the good deed or a favor in return?" The transformation story. I once knew a woman who was always bitter. "Nobody appreciates me," she'd say constantly. She kept meticulous mental records of every favor she'd done, every sacrifice she'd made. She was exhausted and resentful. Then she learned this Stoic principle. She started giving without expectation. At first, it felt unnatural, but gradually something shifted. She realized she'd been making herself miserable by keeping score. She stopped expecting her husband to notice she'd cleaned the kitchen. She just cleaned it because she wanted a clean kitchen. She stopped expecting her kids to thank her for their packed lunches. She just packed them because she loved her kids. She stopped expecting colleagues to reciprocate favors. She just helped because helping felt good. Within months, her whole energy changed. She wasn't resentful anymore. She wasn't bitter. She was genuinely happy. Ironically, people started appreciating her more not because she was trying harder, but because she wasn't emanating that needy, scorekeeping energy anymore. The deeper principle: when you give without expectation, you're actually receiving immediately. You're receiving the joy of being generous, the pride of being helpful, the satisfaction of being virtuous. These rewards are instant and guaranteed. Nobody can take them from you. Nobody can diminish them. They're yours. How this makes you unstoppable. People who need validation are controllable. People who need reciprocation are vulnerable. People who need appreciation are fragile. But when you need nothing from others, when you give freely and love freely, you're unshakable. You're complete. You're unstoppable. You do what's right regardless of response. You love regardless of whether it's returned. You help regardless of whether it's noticed. That's true power. Your practice. For the next 7 days, practice radical generosity. Give your time, attention, kindness, help freely. Notice when your ego wants credit. Notice when you want appreciation. Then consciously let it go. Say to yourself, the giving is the reward. I need nothing more. Watch how this transforms your relationships and your inner peace. This is self-love that makes you independent, powerful, and truly unstoppable. Habit 11. SELF discipline as self-respect. Habit 11 brings us to the cornerstone of personal power. Self-discipline as the highest form of self-respect. Epictetus, who went from slave to philosopher, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. You can have all the money in the world, but if you can't control your impulses, you're a slave. You can have perfect circumstances, but if you can't discipline your actions, you're imprisoned. Here's the truth most people miss. Self-discipline isn't about restriction. It's about freedom. It's not about denying yourself pleasure. It's about choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification. And here's the deeper truth. How you treat yourself when nobody's watching is the ultimate measure of self-love. The practice. Identify 3 areas where you consistently break promises to yourself. Maybe you say you'll exercise, but you don't. Maybe you say you'll eat healthy, but you don't. Maybe you say you'll work on your goals, but you don't. Maybe you say you'll go to bed early, but you don't. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you're sending yourself a message: I don't respect you. Your goals don't matter. Your word means nothing. That's not self-love. That's self-betrayal. The Stoic approach. Start small. Choose one promise and keep it for 30 days. Just one. If you say you'll do 10 push-ups every morning, do them. Every single morning. No exceptions. No negotiations with yourself. If you say you'll journal for 5 minutes every night, do it. Even when you're tired. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially then. Why? Because you're building something more valuable than fitness or a journal habit. You're building self-trust. You're teaching yourself, when I say something, it happens. I am a person of my word, especially to myself. Real-world example. There's a successful entrepreneur who credits his entire success to one simple habit. He made his bed every morning for 5 years straight. Just making his bed. That's it. Sounds insignificant, right? But here's what it did. It trained his brain that he follows through, that he keeps commitments, that he finishes what he starts. That discipline is his identity. That one tiny habit snowballed. It became easier to keep other commitments, to follow through on bigger goals, to be disciplined in his business, because his brain had proof. This is who I am. I do what I say I'll do. Why? This is self-love. Think about someone you deeply respect. Would you break promises to them? Would you let them down repeatedly? Would you treat their goals as unimportant? No. You'd honor your commitments to them because you respect them. Now apply that same respect to yourself. You deserve the same honor, the same consistency, the same reliability that you'd give to someone you respect. Self-discipline is saying, I love you enough to help you become who you want to be. I respect you enough to keep my promises to you. I believe in you enough to hold you accountable. The deeper transformation. When you develop self-discipline, something magical happens. You start respecting yourself more. And when you respect yourself more, others respect you more. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because you carry yourself differently. You walk with more confidence. You speak with more authority. You make decisions more clearly. Why? Because you know you can trust yourself. You know you'll follow through. You know you're disciplined. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. And self-respect is magnetic. How this makes you unstoppable. Undisciplined people are at the mercy of their moods, their cravings, their circumstances. I don't feel like it controls their entire life. But disciplined people, they're free. They don't need to feel like it. They do what needs to be done regardless of how they feel. Bad day? They still show up. Don't feel motivated? They still execute. Circumstances difficult? They still persist. That's unstoppable. That's what creates extraordinary results. Not talent. Not luck. Discipline. Your commitment. Right now, decide on one small daily commitment. Something you can do in 5 to 10 minutes. Write it down. Do it tomorrow. Do it the day after. Do it for 30 days straight. Don't break the chain. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't make excuses. Every day you keep that promise, you're building self-respect. You're strengthening self-love. you're becoming unstoppable. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. Self-discipline is exercising that power. It's the ultimate form of self-love. It's what separates the unstoppable from the stuck. Choose discipline. Choose self-respect. Choose to keep your promises to yourself. That's how you become unstoppable. Habit 12. Simple living, freedom from excess. Habit 12 challenges the modern obsession with more, simple living, or freedom from excess. Seneca, despite being one of the wealthiest men in Rome, wrote extensively about the dangers of luxury and the freedom found in simplicity. He said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The modern trap. We're drowning in stuff. More clothes than we wear. More gadgets than we use. More subscriptions than we watch. More options than we need. And we think more will make us happy. One more purchase. One more upgrade. One more thing. But the Stoics knew better. More doesn't make you happy. It makes you anxious. You have to maintain it, protect it, organize it, worry about it. Every possession possesses you. The practice. Embrace voluntary simplicity. This isn't about becoming a minimalist monk. It's about intentionally reducing excess so you can focus on what truly matters. Start with these steps. Week 1. The Clarity Purge. Go through your possessions. Ask of each item, does this add value to my life or just clutter? If it's just clutter, let it go. Donate it, sell it, discard it. Most people hold on to things just in case. The Stoics say, if you haven't used it in a year, you don't need it. Week 2. The Input Fast. Stop acquiring for 1 month. No shopping, except necessities. No new subscriptions. No new books until you've read the ones you have. This is radical in our consumer culture. You'll feel the pull to buy. That's your opportunity to practice self-control and realize you already have enough. Week 3. The Digital Declutter. Unsubscribe from emails you don't read. Delete apps you don't use. Unfollow accounts that don't enrich you. Clear your digital space like you'd clear your physical space. Your attention is precious. Stop giving it away to things that don't serve you. Week 4. The Time Audit. Look at how you spend your time. What activities are just noise? What commitments are out of obligation rather than genuine value? Start saying no. Create space for what actually matters. Why this is self-love. When you simplify your life, you're saying, my time and energy are valuable. I won't waste them on excess. I won't be owned by my possessions. I choose freedom over accumulation. Think about it. Every item you own requires something from you. Decision fatigue, what to wear from 50 shirts, maintenance, cleaning, organizing, mental bandwidth, knowing where things are, financial resources, storing, insuring. When you simplify, you free up all that energy for what actually matters: relationships, growth, purpose, peace. The transformation story. There's a couple who sold 90% of their possessions. They went from a huge house full of stuff to a small apartment with only what they loved and used. Friends thought they were crazy. But here's what happened. They stopped fighting about money because they weren't spending it on stuff. They had more time together because they weren't maintaining a big house and managing possessions. They felt lighter, freer, happier. They realized they'd been working to support a lifestyle that wasn't even making them happy. The simplification didn't just clear their space. It cleared their minds and hearts. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world, wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." He had access to everything. He could have anything. And his conclusion? You need very little. That's profound. That's freedom. That's power. How this makes you unstoppable. Complex lives are fragile. The more you have to lose. The more you're worried about protecting, maintaining, managing. Simple lives are resilient. When you don't need much, you can't be easily shaken. Market crash? You live simply anyway. Job loss? Your expenses are low. Circumstances change? You adapt easily. You become like a tree with deep roots and few branches. Storms can't topple you because you're grounded in simplicity. The deeper freedom. The Stoics taught that true. Wealth isn't having everything you want, it's wanting nothing you don't have. When you're content with less, you're richer than the billionaire who's always craving more. When you're satisfied with simplicity, you're freer than the celebrity trapped by luxury. Your practice. This weekend, choose one area of excess in your life. Maybe it's your closet, your garage, your digital life, your schedule, your commitments. Ruthlessly simplify it. Cut 50% of what's there. Feel the lightness. Feel the freedom. Feel the clarity. Then keep going. Simplify your life month by month, area by area, until you're left with only what adds genuine value. This is self-love. You're respecting your time, your energy, your attention enough to protect them from excess. You're choosing quality over quantity in every area of your life. And that simplicity, that's what makes you unstoppable. Because you're no longer weighed down. You're free to move, adapt, grow, and pursue what truly matters. Simplify, clarify, become unstoppable. Habit 13. Speaking with intention, the power of silence. Habit 13 addresses something we do constantly but rarely master. Speaking with intention. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The Stoics valued silence. Not awkward, uncomfortable silence, but intentional, powerful silence. They understood that most people speak too much and say too little. The modern problem. We talk constantly. We fill every silence with words. We overshare, over-explain, over-justify. We speak without thinking. We say things we don't mean. We make promises we don't keep. And all that careless speech? It dilutes your power. It diminishes your integrity. It wastes your energy. The practice. Before you speak, pass your words through 3 gates. This comes from Socrates, but the Stoics adopted it. Gate 1. Is it true? Don't exaggerate. Don't embellish. Don't gossip. If you're not certain it's true, don't say it. Gate 2. Is it necessary? Does this need to be said? Or are you just filling silence? Speaking to hear yourself talk? Trying to impress? Gate 3. Is it kind? Can you say what needs to be said with compassion? If it's true and necessary, but you can't say it kindly, can you at least say it without cruelty? If your words don't pass all 3 gates, remain silent. Specific practices. 1. The 10-second rule. Before responding to anything important, count to 10. This gives you space between impulse and speech. Most regrettable things are said in that instant before thinking. 2. The deletion practice. Write out what you want to say, email, text, speech. Then delete half of it. You'll find you can often say more with less. 3. The listening challenge. In conversations, try to listen 70% and speak 30%. Ask questions. Be curious. Let others talk while you truly hear them. 4. The silence comfort. Practice being comfortable with silence. You don't need to fill every gap in conversation. Silence is powerful. It gives weight to your words when you do speak. Why this is self-love. Every careless word diminishes you. Every time you gossip, complain, or speak without thinking, you're training yourself to be undisciplined. You're leaking energy. But when you speak with intention, you're respecting yourself. You're saying, my words matter. My voice has value. I won't waste it on meaningless noise. You're also protecting yourself. Most problems come from saying too much. Most conflicts come from speaking without thinking. Most regrets come from words that can't be taken back. Marcus Aurelius's insight: never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a trust, or lose your sense of shame, or makes you show hatred, suspicion, ill will, or hypocrisy, or a desire for things best done behind closed doors. In other words, if speaking would violate your integrity, don't speak. The transformation story. There was a man known for being the loudest in every room. He always had a story, always had an opinion, always needed to be heard. People tolerated him but didn't truly respect him. Then he learned this principle. He started speaking less and listening more. At first, it was difficult. His ego screamed for attention. But he persisted. Something remarkable happened. When he did speak, people listened. His words carried weight because they were rare and thoughtful. His relationships deepened because he was actually hearing people instead of just waiting for his turn to talk. Within a year, he was invited to speak at conferences. Not because he talked more, but because when he talked, it mattered. He became influential through restraint. The power dynamics. Notice, people who talk constantly have little power. Their words are cheap, abundant, meaningless. But people who speak rarely, thoughtfully, powerfully, their words carry immense weight. When they speak, rooms go quiet. People lean in. Everyone listens. That's the power of silence and intention. How this makes you unstoppable. Careless speakers are easily baited. Say the wrong thing to them and they'll react, argue, defend, attack. They're controlled by their mouths. But intentional speakers? They can't be baited. They think before responding. They choose their battles. They speak from strength, not from ego. You become unstoppable because you're in complete control of your communication. You don't react, you respond. You don't argue, you discuss. You don't defend, you simply state truth and let it stand. Your practice. For the next 3 days, practice radical intentional speech. Before every response, count to 10. In every conversation, try to listen more than you speak. At the end of each day, review: did I say anything I regret? Did I speak carelessly? Did I fill silence unnecessarily? Notice how this changes your relationships. Notice how this changes how people perceive you. Notice how this changes your own sense of power and peace. Seneca said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of our suffering comes from careless speech, our own or others. When you master intentional speech, you master a huge source of peace. Speak less. Say more. Become unstoppable through the power of intentional silence and thoughtful words. Habit 14. Physical excellence, the body as temple. Now we come to habit 14, something Marcus Aurelius emphasized despite being a philosopher. Physical excellence, treating your body as a temple. Marcus wrote, "The perfection of moral character consists in this, to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense." He understood that you cannot live fully if your body is neglected. Your body is the vehicle for your mind, your character, your life's work. Disrespect it, and you disrespect everything. The modern disconnect. We live in our heads. We prioritize mental work, intellectual growth, career success. But we neglect our bodies. We sit for hours. We eat carelessly. We sleep poorly. We avoid physical discomfort. Then we wonder why we feel anxious, depressed, foggy, weak. The Stoics knew a weak body makes for a weak mind. An undisciplined body reflects an undisciplined character. The practice. Physical excellence isn't about looking like a model. It's about respecting and maintaining the only body you'll ever have. The 4 pillars. Pillar 1, movement. Move your body daily. Not someday. Not when you feel like it. Daily. This could be a 30-minute walk, a strength training session, yoga or stretching, sports or martial arts. Just 100 push-ups throughout the day. The specific activity matters less than the consistency. Move every single day. No exceptions. Pillar 2, nutrition. Eat like you love yourself. Not restrictively, but intentionally. Ask before every meal, will this nourish me or just fill me? The Stoics weren't extreme. They ate well, but they didn't overindulge. They didn't eat from boredom, stress, or habit. They ate to fuel their bodies for their life's work. Simple rule: if it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, think twice. Pillar 3, rest. Sleep is not negotiable. Your body repairs, your mind processes, your character strengthens all during sleep. Seneca said, "Before I go to sleep, I review the whole day what I did and said." Create a sleep ritual. Same bedtime each night. Dark, cool room. No screens 30 minutes before bed. Journal before sleep. Protect your sleep like you protect your money. It's that valuable. Pillar 4, discomfort training. Remember voluntary discomfort? Apply it physically. Cold showers, fasting, hard workouts, physical challenges. Train your body to endure discomfort. When life gets physically difficult, and it will, you'll be prepared. Why? This is self-love. Your body is with you from birth to death. It's the only one you get. Every cell in it works tirelessly to keep you alive, even when you treat it poorly. To neglect your body is to say, I don't value this gift. I don't respect this vessel. I don't love myself enough to care for what carries me through life. But when you treat your body with excellence, you're saying, I honor this life. I respect this gift. I love myself enough to be strong, healthy, capable. The transformation story. There was a successful businessman, overweight, exhausted, on medication for 3 different conditions. He worked 80-hour weeks, ate at his desk, never exercised. He thought he was being productive. One day, he couldn't climb stairs without being winded. He realized, I'm 45 and I feel 70. At this rate, I won't make it to 60. He started simple, 20-minute walks every morning. Better food choices. Earlier bedtime. Just those 3 things. 6 months later, down 40 pounds. Off 2 medications. More energy than he'd had in a decade. Working fewer hours but accomplishing more because his mind was clearer. 1 year later, running marathons. Sleeping 8 hours. Mentally sharp. Emotionally balanced. He said, I thought I didn't have time to exercise. The truth? I didn't have time not to. Marcus Aurelius's practice. The emperor would exercise every morning. Wrestling, running, training. Not because he needed to fight, he had armies for that. But because he knew, discipline in the body creates discipline in the mind. He wrote, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig. Your body is part of that inner fountain. Neglect it, and the fountain runs dry. How this makes you unstoppable. A weak body limits everything. Limited energy. Limited confidence. Limited resilience. Limited health span. Limited lifespan. But a strong, healthy body? It amplifies everything. You have energy for your goals, confidence in your capabilities, resilience for challenges, a longer, healthier life to make your impact. You're not fragile. You're not easily broken. You're physically capable of handling whatever life throws at you. And here's the bonus. Physical discipline transfers to every other area. When you can push through a hard workout, you can push through a hard day at work. When you can resist unhealthy food, you can resist unhealthy habits. When you can wake up early to exercise, you can wake up early for anything. Your commitment. Choose one physical habit to build this week. Just one. Daily 20-minute walk. 50 push-ups every day. No junk food for 7 days. 8 hours of sleep every night. 1 strength training session. Start small. Stay consistent. Build from there. Your body is your responsibility, your temple, your vehicle. Love it enough to make it strong. That's how you become unstoppable from the inside out. Habit 15. Continuous learning, the growing mind. Habit 15 focuses on what separates the stagnant from the unstoppable. Continuous learning and intellectual growth. Epictetus said, "It is impossible to begin to learn that which one thinks one already knows." The Stoics were relentless learners. Marcus Aurelius studied with the best teachers of his time. Seneca wrote extensively on every topic from ethics to natural science. They never stopped growing. The modern stagnation. Most people stop learning after school. They think education ends with a diploma. They coast on what they already know. They avoid new ideas that challenge their beliefs. Then they wonder why life feels repetitive, boring, meaningless. The Stoics knew, a mind that stops growing starts dying. Intellectual stagnation is spiritual death. The practice. Commit to being a lifelong student. Not to collect credentials, but to stay alive, engaged, growing. 3 types of learning. Type 1. Foundational wisdom. Read the classics. Philosophy, history, literature. These teach you about human nature, virtue, meaning. Spend 30 minutes daily reading something substantial. Not social media. Not news. Not shallow entertainment. Deep, challenging, transformative content. Marcus Aurelius read Epictetus every night. Even as emperor, he remained a student. Type 2. Practical skills. Learn something useful every quarter. A language. A skill. A craft. Something that expands your capabilities. This keeps your brain plastic, adaptable, young. It builds confidence. It makes you more valuable. It prevents stagnation. Type 3. Diverse perspectives. Deliberately expose yourself to ideas that challenge yours. Read authors you disagree with. Study beliefs different from yours. Travel if you can. Talk to people unlike you. The Stoics emphasized, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable, Seneca. But an unconquerable mind first must be a flexible, understanding mind. Why this is self-love? Your mind is your most powerful asset. To stop feeding it, challenging it, growing it, that's self-neglect at the highest level. When you commit to continuous learning, you're saying, I believe in my capacity to grow. I respect my intelligence enough to challenge it. I love myself enough to keep becoming more. You're also future-proofing yourself. The world changes rapidly. Skills become obsolete. Knowledge expands. If you're not growing, you're falling behind. Real story. There's a woman who at 60 years old decided to learn coding. Everyone thought she was crazy. You're too old, they said. Why bother? She ignored them. She studied daily, struggled through tutorials, made countless mistakes, persisted. 3 years later, at 63, she built her first app. Then another. Then started a small tech consulting business. At 65, she was teaching younger people. She said, I didn't learn to code to become rich. I learned to prove to myself that I could still grow. That was the gift. That's self-love. That's respecting your own potential at any age. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every time you don't understand something, that's not a limitation, That's an opportunity to learn. Every time you fail at a new skill, that's not proof of inability, that's proof you're growing. The 4 learning commitments. Read daily. 30 minutes minimum of substantial content. Learn quarterly. 1 new skill or subject every 3 months. Challenge monthly. 1 idea or belief that makes you uncomfortable. Teach annually. Share what you've learned with others. Teaching deepens understanding. How this makes you unstoppable. Stagnant people are brittle. When their industry changes, they're lost. When their skills become obsolete, they're unemployable. When their beliefs are challenged, they're defensive. But continuous learners? They adapt. They evolve. They stay relevant. They welcome change because they're confident in their ability to learn whatever's needed. You become unstoppable because you're not fixed. You're fluid. You can become whatever version of yourself is needed for the next chapter of life. The deeper benefit, learning keeps you humble. Every time you study something new, you realize how much you don't know. That's healthy. That's wisdom. Epictetus said, "He who is greatest among you shall be servant of all." Learning is service to yourself humbly, acknowledging you're always a work in progress. Your action step. Right now, choose 1 book to read this month, 1 skill to start learning this quarter, 1 perspective different from yours to explore this week. Start today, not tomorrow, today. Your mind is limitless. Your capacity for growth is boundless. Honor that. Feed that. Love yourself enough to keep becoming more. That's how you stay unstoppable, by never stopping your growth. Habit 16. Purposeful work. Contribution over consumption. We're approaching the end with Habit 16, one of the most meaningful, purposeful work, or contributing more than you consume. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "In the morning when you rise unwillingly, let this thought be present. I am rising to the work of a human being." The Stoics believed work wasn't just about earning money. It was about contributing to the world, serving others, fulfilling your purpose. The modern confusion: we work to consume. We earn to spend. We chase titles, salaries, status. We ask, what will this get me? But we rarely ask, what will this give others? What value am I creating? What legacy am I leaving? Then we feel empty, because consumption never satisfies. Only contribution fulfills. The practice. Shift from a consumer mindset to a contributor mindset. Ask different questions. Instead of, how can I make more money? Ask, how can I create more value? Instead of, what do I want? Ask, what is needed? Instead of, what will this get me? Ask, what will this give others? The 3 levels of contribution. Level 1. Excellence in your current role. Whatever you do, even if it's not your dream job, do it excellently. Be the best you can be. Marcus Aurelius was emperor. Not his choice. He didn't want the position, but he committed to being the best emperor possible. That was his duty. You have a job? Do it with pride, excellence, purpose. Even if it's temporary. Even if it's difficult. That's character. Level 2. Service beyond your role. Look for ways to contribute beyond your job description. Help colleagues. Mentor someone. Solve problems nobody asked you to solve. This isn't about working more hours for free. It's about having an abundance mindset. I have value to give, and I'll give it freely. Level 3. Creating your life's work. Ideally, align your work with your purpose. What were you put on earth to do? What unique value can only you provide? This might not be your current job. That's okay. Start it as a side project. Build it slowly. Let it grow. But start. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start contributing in whatever way you can today. Why this is self-love. When you contribute meaningfully, you prove to yourself that you matter. that your existence makes a difference, that you're not just taking up space, you're adding value. That's deep self-respect. That's purpose. That's meaning. Seneca said, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." Your work, when it's purposeful, makes your life good, not just long. The transformation story. There was a janitor at a hospital. Just a janitor. Minimum wage. No status. Many people looked down on what he did. But he saw it differently. He told a reporter, "I don't just clean floors. I help heal people." When a patient sees clean, organized spaces, they feel hope. When doctors have sanitized areas to work, they can save lives. I'm part of the healing team. Same job, different mindset. He wasn't just consuming resources and doing a task. He was contributing to something larger than himself. That janitor had more purpose, more dignity, more peace than many executives who made 100 times his salary but saw their work as just transactions. Marcus Aurelius's daily practice. Every morning, he'd remind himself, "Today I'm going to meet people who are busybodies, ungrateful, arrogant, but that's not going to stop me from doing good work, because I was born to work with others." He didn't let others' attitudes stop him from contributing. Neither should you. The warning about consumption. Our culture is obsessed with consuming products, experiences, content, attention. We're trained to ask, "What can I get?" But consumption never satisfies for long. The high fades. You need more. It's an endless, empty cycle. Contribution is different. When you genuinely help someone, create something valuable, solve a real problem, that satisfaction lasts. That builds real self-esteem. How this makes you unstoppable. People focused on consumption are always needy, always chasing, always dissatisfied. They're controlled by their wants. But people focused on contribution, they're fulfilled. They're purpose-driven. They're unstoppable because their motivation comes from within, not from external rewards. You can't be bought, can't be deterred, can't be discouraged. Because you're not working for applause or money or status. You're working because it's who you are. Because contribution is your nature, your practice. This week, ask yourself daily, how can I contribute today? What value can I add? How can I serve? Then do it. Don't announce it. Don't seek credit. Just contribute. At week's end, notice how you feel. More fulfilled? More purposeful? More alive? That's the gift of contribution. That's self-love that extends beyond yourself. Your work matters. Your contribution matters. You matter. Live that truth every single day. That's how you become unstoppable. Habit 17. Evening reflection, the daily reckoning. We arrive at the final habit, one that ties everything together. Evening reflection, the daily reckoning with yourself. Seneca wrote, "The spirit ought to be brought up for examination daily." It was the custom of Sextius when the day was over and he had retired to rest, to inquire of his spirit, "What bad habit of yours have you cured today? What vice have you checked? In what respect are you better?" This is the capstone habit, the one that ensures all the others stick, the one that creates true transformation. The practice. Every evening, before sleep, spend 10 minutes in honest self-reflection. Sit with your journal and review your day through the lens of Stoic virtue. The 4 evening questions. Question 1. What did I do well today? Celebrate your wins. Not to inflate your ego, but to reinforce positive behavior. Your brain learns through recognition. Did you keep your commitments? Show patience? Speak with intention? Practice discipline? Contribute value? Acknowledge it. Let yourself feel proud. This isn't arrogance. This is healthy self-recognition. You're teaching yourself, this is who I am. This is what I do. Question 2. What could I have done better? Be honest, not harsh. Look at your mistakes, your reactions, your choices. Where did you fall short? Did you get angry when you could have stayed calm? Skip your workout? Gossip? Waste time? Break a promise to yourself? Face it. Own it. Don't justify or excuse it. Just acknowledge, I could have been better here. Question 3. What did I learn today? Every day contains lessons if you're paying attention. What did today teach you about yourself, others' life? Maybe you learned you're stronger than you thought. Maybe you learned a weakness you need to work on. Maybe you learned something about human nature or relationships or your work. Capture it. Wisdom comes from extracting lessons from experiences. Question 4. How will I be better tomorrow? This is crucial. Reflection without action is just rumination. So commit to one specific improvement for tomorrow. Not 10 things. One thing. Tomorrow I will wake up earlier. Tomorrow I will listen more. Tomorrow I will complete my workout. One clear, actionable commitment. Why this is the ultimate self-love. Evening reflection is you taking yourself seriously. You're saying, my growth matters enough to examine. My life matters enough to improve. I love myself enough to hold myself accountable. Most people drift through life unconsciously. Same patterns, same mistakes, same limitations. Year after year, never changing because they never reflect. But you're examining yourself daily. You're consciously evolving. You're authoring your own transformation. That's radical self-love. That's radical self-respect. Marcus Aurelius's practice. The emperor's meditations were his evening reflections. Written at night after long days of ruling an empire. He'd examine his thoughts, his actions, his character. He wasn't writing for fame. He was holding himself accountable. Even as the most powerful man in the world, he submitted himself to self-examination. If the emperor of Rome had time for evening reflection, you have time for evening reflection. The compounding effect. Here's what's powerful. One day of reflection creates small improvement. But 365 days? That's transformation. Imagine improving just 1% every day. In a year, you're 37 times better. Not 37% better, 37 times better. That's the power of compounding self-improvement. But it requires daily assessment, daily adjustment, daily commitment. Evening reflection is how you ensure you're actually progressing, not just staying busy. A transformation story. There's a man who started evening reflection 10 years ago. Every single night, without fail, he'd review his day and commit to improvement. He kept all his journals. Recently, he read one from 10 years ago. He was shocked. The person who wrote that journal was unrecognizable. The problems that seemed huge then were trivial now. The goals that seemed impossible then were accomplished years ago. The person he was trying to become then, he surpassed him. He said, I didn't notice the change day by day. But over a decade, I became a completely different person. A better person. The person I always wanted to be. That's the power of evening reflection. Slow, steady, compounding transformation. How this makes you unstoppable. People who don't reflect repeat patterns. They make the same mistakes over and over. They never learn. They never grow. They're stuck. But people who reflect daily, they learn fast. They don't repeat mistakes, they correct them. They don't stay stuck, they evolve constantly. You become unstoppable because you're always improving. Every single day, you're getting better. Not perfect, but better. And better compounds. The integration. Evening reflection also integrates all the other 16 habits. Each night, you review. Did I meditate this morning? Did I practice the dichotomy of control? Did I embrace discomfort? Did I journal? Did I remember my mortality? Did I practice discipline? Did I speak intentionally? Did I move my body? Did I learn something? Did I contribute value? You're holding yourself accountable to the life you're building, to the person you're becoming, your commitment. Tonight, before you sleep, spend 10 minutes with these 4 questions. Write your answers. Be honest. Be thorough. Then do it again tomorrow night and the night after. For the next 30 days, commit to evening reflection. This one habit will anchor all the others. This one habit will ensure your transformation sticks. Seneca said, "Each day acquire something that will fortify you against poverty, against death, indeed against other misfortunes as well. And after you have run over many thoughts, select one to be thoroughly digested that day." Evening reflection is how you digest your day, how you extract wisdom from experience, how you become better day by day until you're unstoppable. Bringing it all together, your transformation blueprint. We've covered 17 powerful Stoic habits. Now let's talk about how to actually implement them and transform your life. The overwhelm trap. Right now, you might be feeling overwhelmed. 17 habits? How do I do all of this? Here's the truth. You don't start with all 17. You build one at a time. Layer by layer. Habit by habit. Your 90-day transformation plan. Month 1. Foundation. Habits 1, 5, 17. Start with just 3 habits. Morning meditation, 15 minutes. Daily journaling, 10 minutes. Evening reflection, 10 minutes. These 3 create the foundation. They establish daily rituals of intention and reflection. Master these first. Month 2, core practices, add habits 2, 6, 11. Once the foundation is solid, add dichotomy of control, practiced throughout the day. Memento mori, daily reminder at noon. Self-discipline, 1 daily commitment. Now you're building the mental framework. You're strengthening your mind and your willpower. Month 3, full integration. Add remaining habits. In the 3rd month, integrate the rest. Negative visualization, weekly. Voluntary discomfort, daily cold showers or similar. Premeditatio, morning obstacle planning. Virtue as North Star, decision filter. Amor fati, practice and challenges. Social debt, give without expecting. Simple living, ongoing decluttering. Intentional speech, pass through 3 gates. Physical excellence, daily movement plus nutrition plus sleep. Continuous learning, daily reading. Purposeful work, contribution mindset. The key principle, don't try to be perfect. Try to be consistent. An imperfect practice done daily beats a perfect practice done occasionally. Marcus Aurelius wasn't perfect. He struggled. He had bad days, but he kept showing up. That's what made him great. Creating your personal Stoic practice. Take out your journal right now. Create your personal commitment. Morning routine, 15 to 30 minutes. 5 minutes, meditation and intention setting. 10 minutes, reading something meaningful. 5 minutes, planning your day with virtue in mind. 10 minutes, physical movement or cold shower. Throughout the day, practice dichotomy of control. When stressed, speak intentionally through 3 gates. Remember memento mori at noon. Choose virtue in every decision. Embrace obstacles as opportunities. Give without expecting return. Evening routine 15 to 20 minutes. 10 minutes, journaling about the day. 5 minutes, evening reflection 4 questions. 5 minutes, gratitude and preparing for tomorrow. Weekly practices. Negative visualization session. Simplifying one area of life. Learning one new thing. physical challenge or discomfort practice. The support system. Don't do this alone. The Stoics had communities. Marcus had teachers. Seneca had fellow philosophers. Epictetus had students. Find your support. Join a philosophy group. Find an accountability partner. Share your journey, maybe start a journal blog. Teach others what you're learning. When you commit publicly and have support, you're 10 times more likely to succeed. Tracking your progress. Create a simple habit tracker. Each day, check off the habits you completed. Don't break the chain. But here's what's more important than the checkboxes. Track how you feel. Once a week, rate yourself on inner peace, 1 to 10. Self-respect, 1 to 10. Resilience, 1 to 10. Purpose, 1 to 10. Overall life satisfaction, 1 to 10. Watch these numbers climb. That's real progress. That's transformation. When you fail, and you will, you'll miss days. You'll break promises to yourself. You'll fall short. That's human. That's expected. The Stoic response? Get back up immediately. Don't spiral into self-criticism. Don't give up. Epictetus said, "Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. Your journey is unique. Your timeline is your own. Just keep going." The transformation you can expect. If you commit to these 17 habits for 90 days, here's what happens. Internally, unshakable inner peace. Deep self-respect and self-love. Mental clarity and focus. Emotional resilience. Purpose and meaning. Freedom from external validation. Confidence in yourself. Externally, better relationships. You're calmer, more present, more intentional. Better health. You're moving, eating well, sleeping better. Better work. You're disciplined, purposeful, contributing. Better results. You're taking consistent action aligned with your values. But more than results, you become someone you deeply respect. Someone you're proud to be. Someone unstoppable. The bigger picture. This isn't just about self-improvement. This is about becoming the person the world needs. When you love yourself through Stoic practice, you stop being needy, reactive, fragile. You become strong, generous, wise. You stop taking from the world and start giving to it. You stop being part of the problem and start being part of the solution. That's what Marcus Aurelius did. That's what you can do. The invitation. The ancient Stoics are inviting you into a 2,000-year-old tradition of human excellence. People across centuries and cultures have used these principles to become their best selves. Now it's your turn. Will you accept the invitation? Will you commit to the work? Will you become unstoppable? The path is clear. The tools are in your hands. The only question is, will you walk it? We've reached the end of this video, but really, we're at the beginning of your transformation. Let me leave you with one final thought from Marcus Aurelius. Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. You now know what to do. You have 17 powerful habits. You have a 90-day plan. You have ancient wisdom and modern applications. The only thing standing between you and becoming unstoppable is action. Not tomorrow. Not next Monday. Not after you finish this video, though please do watch to the end. Today, right now, this moment. Your first steps. Step 1. Save this video. You'll want to come back to it as you implement each habit. Step 2. Get a journal. Tonight. Today. Before the day ends. This is your sacred tool for transformation. Step 3. Tomorrow morning start with habit 1. Just 1. Morning meditation. 15 minutes. Set your alarm now. Step 4. Tomorrow evening do habits 5 and 17. Journal and reflect. Just those 3 habits for the first month. That's it. That's how you begin. Simple, doable, powerful. Remember why you're doing this. You're not doing this to impress anyone. You're not doing this to prove anything to the world. You're doing this because you deserve to love yourself. You deserve to become your highest self. You deserve to be unstoppable. And the world deserves the best version of you. Your family needs it. Your work needs it. Your community needs it. When you become unstoppable through self-love and Stoic virtue, you don't just transform your life, you transform every life you touch. The Stoic promise. The Stoics didn't promise easy. They didn't promise quick. They didn't promise comfort. They promised something better. They promised that if you do this work, you'll become unshakable. You'll develop a peace that circumstances can't disturb, a confidence that criticism can't shake, a purpose that setbacks can't destroy. You'll love yourself, not in the superficial, Instagram way, but in the deep, genuine way that comes from knowing you're living with virtue, discipline, and intention. You'll become unstoppable, not because nothing will challenge you, but because nothing will be able to stop you from getting back up, learning, growing, and continuing forward. My challenge to you. I challenge you to commit to 90 days. Just 90 days. That's all I ask. 90 days of morning meditation. 90 days of journaling. 90 days of evening reflection. 90 days of building these habits one at a time. If after 90 days, you don't feel more peaceful, more purposeful, more unstoppable, you can go back to your old ways. But I promise you, 90 days from now you won't want to, because you'll have become someone you deeply respect, someone you genuinely love, someone unstoppable. Final words. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, philosopher king, Stoic sage, wrote these words in his journal 2,000 years ago. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That strength is waiting for you. That power is already within you. These 17 habits are simply the keys to unlock it. The door is open. The path is clear. The journey begins now. Will you walk it? Will you become unstoppable? Will you love yourself enough to do the work? I believe you will. The ancient Stoics believed you could. Now you just need to believe in yourself. Before you go, if this video resonated with you, if you're ready to transform your life, do 3 things. 1. Like this video so more people can discover these life-changing principles. 2. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for more Stoic wisdom. 3. Comment below. Tell me which habit you're starting with. Declare your commitment publicly. When you declare it, you're 10 times more likely to follow through. I read every comment. I'm watching your journey. I'm rooting for your transformation. Your transformation starts now. Close this video. Get a journal. Set your alarm for 15 minutes earlier tomorrow. Write down your commitment to these 17 habits. Tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, remember why you're doing this. Remember who you're becoming. Remember that you deserve to love yourself. Remember that you're meant to be unstoppable. Then get up and begin. The ancient Stoics are with you. I'm with you. You've got this. Now go. Become unstoppable. Love yourself. Transform your life. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing growth. This is your moment. This is your journey. This is your transformation. Let's go.